Hey everybody, welcome to In Your Prime. I'm Rue.
And I'm Ken.
Today we're going to talk about heartbreaks. We've all been through heartbreaks. It's a universal thing where a dog died or a breakup or lost a family member that's close to you.
Absolutely.
We all endured heartbreaks in our lives, right? We're going to tell you some tools and tips to help you the best way to maneuver through these hard times, through a heartbreak, right? The first point I want to bring up is just let yourself feel it. Feel the emotion. You want to cry, take a mental health day, you know what I'm saying? Vent, journal, you know what I mean? Anything you need to do to get over that emotion or let the emotion, just feel it. It's good, it's therapeutic to let it all out. But what we don't want to do, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to rely on negative reinforcements to get over heartbreak, right? Such as drugs, addictions, you know what I mean? Other people. Use them to take advantage of them to get over your own heartbreak or heartbrokenness, right? What happened with me going to a heartbreak where I lost like a relationship or a family member is that when I would talk to people, they would go through the exact same thing I went through, sometimes even worse. So it made me give me a sense of closure, knowing that this is not just happening to me, it's happening to everyone. Everyone feels something similar, not exactly the same, because every situation is different, but there's similarities between heartbreak of my situation, their situation, made me feel better. You know, give me some sense of comfort, right? So talk about it, vent about it. You know what I mean? In a positive way. What you don't want to do, a negative way to get over it would be, it's hard because when it comes to heart, it's directly tied to emotions, right? So when your emotions are unstable, you tend to revert back to things that are destructive to yourself, right? For example, say I had a situation where, I was really heartbroken and I didn't know how to get over the pain and was, pretty much keeping me awake and sleep at night, right? So I thought about, hey, maybe if I took a certain substance or something else, it would make me feel better. Momentarily it would, but it could lead to something much more dark. We want to do things the best way to help us to get over heartbreak, not continue to have more heartbreaks in the future.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I think it is important to be able to just acknowledge what you're feeling first. It might be a natural impulse to want to jump into something new, right? To replace the loss. Let's say you lost your pet. It might be a natural inclination to try to replace that pet with another pet, or to replace maybe a person that you lost in a relationship, a family member that you lost. It's so easy to try to replace that person with something else, right? But here's the thing. It's not necessarily a relationship that you're craving. It's the relationship with that person, with that thing. There are intricacies that you experience with that person that you will not experience with someone else because that relationship was unique to you and that other person, right?
Time.
Exactly, yeah. So you want to be able to give yourself that time to actually feel whatever you're feeling, grieve the loss in a way. It doesn't have to be months. It doesn't have to be years. However long it takes is really unique to you, but you should give yourself time to acknowledge what you're feeling first. That's what he's trying to say here. Like, give yourself that time to allow yourself to feel and then express yourself. If you have friends, trusted friends and families that you can turn to, please turn to them. And we use the word trusted here strongly.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just give your information to just anybody, right? Not everyone has your best interest in mind.
Absolutely.
Talk to a trusted person if you're going through something hard. If you don't have that person, journal. Journaling is a great way to get your thoughts out of your head and onto a piece of paper so that you're not always having these recurring thoughts over and over again, right? There has to be an outlet for them. So if you can't be able to speak that, write it down. That's another good coping skill for that.
Yeah, guys, and if things get too serious or you feel like you can't do on your own, you don't have any resources or people around to get certain things, there's always therapy. We promote therapy here. If you want to go to talk to a professional, a clinical professional, talk about your problems and things you're going through, that's always welcome. You know? Whatever you can do to get over a heartbreak or some pain that's been plaguing you, exhaust all the resources you can. Hey guys, point number 2 is self-reflection and self-introspection, right? Two go hand in hand, right? Whenever you go to a heartbreak or some type of breakup, there's always some type of loss. There's also some type of pain or insecurity that you have afterwards, right? Now is the time for you to do self-introspection. Why is it so important, right? say for example, I'm making a house or a building, right? And I put one or two bricks out of place. In the end, it ends up collapsing, right? Now when I rebuild that building, I can build it even stronger than it was before because now I know where the weak points were, right? But I only know where the weak points are if I self-reflect on how I built it, how it came to be, the people who played a part in building the house together in the first place. Then I can make a better choice next time, right? And that's why self-reflection is so important. We've gotten to where we are in life because of heartbreaks, of traumas, things that we went through. It didn't break us, it made us better. Because what happened is we thought to ourselves, why is it we got ourselves in this position in the first place, right? And sometimes things happen without your control. But you still have to self-identify how that affected you, how that made you feel, and how it is affecting other people around you, right? If you're going through a pain or heartbreak or some type of trauma, it usually reflects through actions and through emotions to people, right? If you go to one of your friends or family members and you act extra angry or upset or emotional, that's a sign of trauma. That's a sign of being hurt, right? You need to reflect on that because you end up pushing people you care about away and pushing a good energy away, right? Now, first thing you want to do is you want to figure out, okay, how did this happen in the first place? You know what I mean? And it's all about you. You can't talk about your ex or a situation happening you can control because that's out of your control, right? So why focus on something you can't control? Only you control is yourself, right? But that's why you have to start at you, right? If you got into someone, say for example, you got into someone's life who broke your heart, right? Bad person, we like to use the word toxic, right? But even though that person was a quote unquote bad person, you still chose that person to be with them, right? You still have to take accountability that you chose to be with that person. Why did you choose that person? Why? Was it because you have a family dynamic where your father is a certain way or your mom is a certain way, so you attract that certain person to your life? You have to identify that. Was it because I have low self-esteem, so I let people who are negative, people who are controlling, easily to manipulate me because I had low self-esteem? That's something you can control, right? So self-reflection is so much better because if you don't self-reflect on negative things, you end up being in a negative situation again and again and again, like a cycle.
Yeah, so what really happens is you end up projecting old feelings into new relationships, right? And you never give those new relationships a chance in their own right because they never really had a chance. If the old feelings, the old traumas, the old situations were never really dealt with, how do we expect new relationships to flourish? How do we expect to form new patterns in life if the old things just keep getting brought into our current life? Mm-hmm. So basically with what he's saying, what I really resonated with was the fact that we need this kind of self-reflect. Give yourself that time to realize what you could have done differently. What part did you play in it? What patterns seem to be forming here? Is this very common with another heartbreak that you just went through? Am I losing this job because of the same situation that happened before, right? Am I constantly late? Am I constantly running into the same types of people in my life? Mm-hmm. Am I forming the same types of habits of blaming it on other people?
Yep.
It's so easy to blame other people for your mistakes. And we're not saying that they're completely blameless. We're just saying what part did you play? Because that's the part that you have control over.
Yep.
If you continue to focus on everything external, guess what? Those external things are just going to continue to be there. Focus on yourself first. Do the internal work first. And then watch and see your external life.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off that point, say for example, you want to purchase a new pet or dog, right? The dog turns out to be aggressive or vicious. The owner would tell you, well, the previous owner was obviously abused it, and that's why it's acting so, aggressive, so mean. The same thing happens with people, right? When you're hurt, when you're affected by your emotions, you're not the same person anymore. You know what I'm saying? You're a different person because of the situation, you change your outlook on life, change your outlook on things, right? So you need to be aware of that, right? Because if you're not, you can sabotage relationships in the future, right? And it's not their fault. They're going to a brand new relationship, everything should be brand new, right? But you can't go into a brand new place if you still have, living in an old place, right? You're supposed to move to a new place, a new home. Not when I mean that, I'm pretty much meaning like a new mindset or a new relationship, wherever it is, right? But you can't move into a new place if you still have baggage, and leftover stuff from the old place, right? I mean, fully move out from the old place, into the new place, you know what I'm saying? Now you're starting a new life, right? The person you were before the breakup, you're not the same person anymore. You're a better person.
And then for the third point, ladies and gentlemen, this is my third point. This is the one I resonate with the most, probably because this is where I'm at in life, right? And that's learning how to channel your emotion. I've asked a group of people before in the past, like, what do you think of emotions? Like, what do you think of the word when you hear it? Almost everyone had a negative connotation to say, like, no one seems to like the word emotions. No one seems to like to feel emotions. Yet, emotions are the driving force behind our actions. Whether you feel happy, whether you feel sad, whether you feel a little disgruntled, whether you feel tired, name a plethora of different emotions. You're basically going to be acting according to how you feel. Now, for the most disciplined people in the world, they know how to act regardless of how they feel. They know how to get the job done regardless, right? But a lot of us need training in order to do that. A lot of us need to be able to put ourselves in a certain situation, to understand that, yes, we can also act in a certain way that will then influence a certain emotion. But in order for us to really get over a heartbreak in this case, we want to learn how to channel that pain. Whatever pain that you're feeling. Pain can come in different forms. It can be emotional pain, it can be physical pain, mental anguish that you're going through. We're going to learn how to channel all of that into something productive, right? And that could be a career, starting a new job, maybe starting a new relationship, losing the weight, starting a new diet, whatever new lifestyle habit or even a temporary change that you want to make. I honestly strongly feel that it would be 10 times stronger if you learned how to channel that strong emotion that you're feeling now into something more progressive into the future, okay? And think of the people that you admire in life. Think of maybe the sports figures, the political figures, social media influencers. A lot of them have been through stress and pain, just like you and I were all through being here. A lot of them have been through stress and pain, but they learned how to use that, to utilize that into something and make it into something greater, okay? In fact, the people in my life who have been through the toughest times have actually ended up using that in order to gain better positions in life. And that's because they just got sick of feeling a certain way and they wanted something better for them in their lives. So what they did was they channeled that mentally and physically into something great, okay? And so you can do the same thing.
I think the biggest example of that would be David Goggins.
Oh my goodness, yes. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, everyone knows David Goggins, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you haven't, I highly recommend his books,
Yeah.
especially Can't Hurt Me, and his new book, Never Finished, which, trust me, that's on my list to get. But if you know his story, he talks about how he weighed close to 300 pounds twice in his life, went through an abusive relationship with his father. He and his mother and his brother went through so much trauma living in that household. Any one of us he could have used that as an excuse to be like,
and no one blamed him.
Yeah, this is just who I am. Sorry, Dad, you made me into this person. And he could have just lived his life, the rest of his life, very unhappy. But for the man to have that much mental fortitude, obviously, remember what I said initially, he took his action, he took his pain, and then he used that to kind of transmute that pain into something greater, right? He became a Navy SEAL. He's now this big social media influencer. Even though he doesn't even like social media, he still is an influence to most of us because we see his story and how we can even relate to that.
Yeah.
We can relate to the feelings, at least. We can relate to the feelings of heartbreak.
Yeah.
We can relate to the feelings of pain, especially from those that we love and those that we're supposed to be looking up to. Sometimes they cause the most pain in our lives. But it's what you do with that really determines the intensity of the pain. Okay?
Robert Greene also says that, and like I said, we're going from Robert Greene here too. The book Laws of Human Nature, the emotions are the horse and you are the rider. You're supposed to control how your emotions, how they're supposed to act, right? You said David Goggins. Drake gave a speech, one of the award shows, saying that the president of the music company said he'll never become an artist. He'll never become famous. He'll never choose green. And what did he do with that negative information? He didn't cry and say, like, you know what, woe is me, I'm gonna give up. You know what I mean? My emotions are strong. It's an emotional thing. Despair, hurt, rejection. Those are all emotional traits, right? But what did he use with that, right? He was a rider and his emotions were the horse. And where he led that to? Grammys, success, you know what I mean, all around the world. We all know Drake. And it started off him being kicked when he was down. So you'll never become this. Same thing with David Goggins. I can't imagine a 300-pound man who had nothing, right? Who was clean cockroaches, and became a Navy SEAL. You know how much discipline that takes?
He went through Bud's training 3 times.
Yeah, but he never gave up. He used all those negative emotions to push himself to the next level, right? And that's why putting number 3 is so important, because you're going to have all these bent up emotions, negative energy. You'll have sadness, depression, anger, anxiety. All those things are a coulage of destruction. But you can harness that power, that energy, and turn to motivation. You'll be unstoppable, ladies and gentlemen. I guarantee you. Hey guys, thanks for joining us once again on another episode about tips how to get over heartbreak the most healthy and effective way. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the positive energy you guys give to our page, and in the future we'll definitely make more content. But once again, it's been a pleasure. I'm Rue,
And I'm Ken.
and this has been In Your Prime. See you guys next time.